Well, hello, peasants! A little while ago I made a video about, things that EDH players should stop doing, and I mentioned not playing so many Taplands. And, well, that upset some people, didn't it? That really upset some people. Stop playing untapped lands? Me? Somebody who doesn't spend $40 on one land? No, I don't think I will. We play budget EDH because we have no other options. Stop talking trash! It's one thing in Commander, dude, and you say I should buy me lands for hundreds of euros? What the fuck is your problem? Work on your attitude! When I heard the Taplands found, all I could see was that picture of Paris Hilton wearing the Stop Being Poor tank top. No, if you watch the video, my shirt just says the word come. It doesn't say stop being poor on it. This is MTG classism! Your shirt says come? Taplands are budget solutions to mana fixing. It's a must for those who can't spend $100 just on their land base. How much does a basic swap cost? 25 cents on average? Fuck off, they're basically free. Don't play Taplands because of slows your tempo. So either don't be poor or waste your turns playing mana rocks and not threats to fix your crappy mana base just to get blown out by Vandal Blast. That's a very specific, I reckon that's happened. That person's definitely been blown out by Vandal Blast. Why does his head look so big? I mean, I haven't had a haircut in fucking months, so maybe it's that. Fine, I'll take out a 800 loan to not play Taplands. Stop playing Taplands? More like stop being poor. Does your shirt say, come, in the Doom font? Look at this guy, tell me not to play the Taplands. You think I'm a millionaire who can afford fetches? Okay, I just checked. He said play fewer, not none at all. Taplands allow for more conversation and reflection, says Jerry Williams. This dude gets it. Do you know what? I hadn't considered that. Perhaps the conversations you have around the EDH table where you can't cast your spells on time, maybe that's the real friends you made along the way. Look, I know I've made this video titled and thumbed probably to be provocative because that's just how you get the clicks, but at no point was I saying don't be fucking poor. What the fuck is wrong with people? Why is it that you have to jump to try and find fault? To have something to bitch and moan about. Oh, he's one of the 1%! No, I'm saying play less Taplands. And today, I'm going to talk to you about options that you can use to play less Taplands that won't cost you, and I quote, an 800 loan. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I haven't had a haircut in like a million years, and apparently I hate poor people. When talking about lands in EDH, there's a few things to consider. One is your own personal budget. Can you afford fetch lands and dual lands? Probably not, because Wizards of the Coast won't fucking reprint them. The funny thing is, people are mad at me for saying that we need to play less tap lands, but then I'm not the one who gets to choose when things are reprinted. So direct that ire at Wizards of the Coast. But budget is an important part, and secondarily is, what do those lands do? Do they fix your mana, for the most part, is the key thing you want from your lands, or do they provide any utility? The crux of the matter was that I said that you spend so much time in Commander doing fuck all anyway, asking whose turn it is and the turn order going slow, that casting your spells on curve will maximise the fun you will have in a game of Commander, yourself and your friends. So for that reason, I'm going to help, hopefully today, by suggesting some cheaper, not tapped lands for you all at home, and hopefully then you can all just comment anyway saying that you think I'm a zoomer boomer doomer woomer. Honourable mentions! Actually, no, fuck it, right? This list was going to be 5 cards. Yes, there's 5 cards in the title. I've decided it's now 7 cards. I don't give a fuck. It's my channel, not yours. Let's talk colourless utility lands that are cheap as fucking chips, but also come into play untapped and brighten up your day, providing a unique usage and allow you to play your spells on curve. And look, I'm sorry. These are the 2 of the most expensive cards on this list. So watch out, watch out. Zoomer Boomer 1% of the... Poor people, look away, okay? These cards cost around $3 each. Probably less, because you probably have them in your fucking collection. But just be careful, okay? I don't want to upset anyone here. It's Blast Zone, at just shy of over $3 each on average. Holy shit. Blast Zone is an in-standard rare printed in War of the Spark that I recommend picking up copies of now, more so than later, as it sees play in Legacy and will see play in Legacy, Commander, Highlander, Modern and Pioneer formats ongoing. An untapped, colourless land that comes into the play and has the ability to help you blow up problematic permanents immediately of 1-drop permanents and more larger permanents later on when you dump mana into it, and that ability cannot be countered save for a Stifle or similar. I like this most in decks that can hold up mana like blue decks or want to play politics at the table. them. You can hold up counter magic or instant speed card draw or flash threats, and then tick this up in end step with no need to use your spells. You can also use it to strike deals with people to protect you from their removal or not attack you. If you can sink the mana into Blast Zone and detonate to get rid of a pesky propaganda, for example, you might be able to get the aggro player at the table on board with. My other favourite is preemptively charging it up knowing a linchpin commander is coming, so when your friend plays Edric and moves to combat, you can either rattlesnake them, so make them not attack you because of the looming bomb, alternatively and correctly say fuck you Edric and blow it up so they don't draw any cards. Blast Zone is evidently a mana intensive investment in the game, but it's a good place to sink mana if you are low on resources in hand, and best of all, it comes into play untapped. My second honourable mention, which is now 6th slot on this list of arbitrarily numbered cards, is Reliquary Tower. Again, approaching $3, you might just have one of these wonderful things knocking about. It was in Commander 2020, Corset 2019, Mystery Booster, Commander 19, 16 and 15, and it has a nice Love Your LGS promo coming to talk to your local game store about how you can get hold of these and support them whilst doing so. In Commander, you will draw a ton of cards at some point, unless you're mono white or mono red, but people only play those colours to prove a point, so fuck them. Oh, Perforos. This will be an untapped colourless source of mana. That means you can get all of those tasty cards in your hand and keep them there. Honestly, even more so than Blast Zone, I believe that almost everyone should be playing this card in their deck. It is very rare that I think it's a bad idea or not an auto-include, and this is hardly a well-kept secret. This is probably the card on this list that most people probably already play or should be playing. Play Reliquary Tower everywhere and anywhere you can. Pick up multiple copies in trades or from your stores now, because the card, if it doesn't get multiple reprints going down the line, will just go up and up in price, as there will be a high demand for it. Then in at number 5, on the actual top 5, is the Tainted Psyche. These cards are for y'all that like to play Black in Commander. Now I know someone in the comment section are going to act like I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but I simply do not see these being played in Commander games enough. An untapped colourless source that rewards you with access to black or another colour depending on which land it is for playing swamps. This and Blood Crypt is such a powerful synergistic combo. It's the EDH mana fiction equivalent of Splinter Twin. Obviously these get worse with less swamps in your deck, so I think it's quite weak in a 5 colour deck for instance, so I wouldn't suggest you play them there. But the less people just slamming together 5 colour good stuff for the sake of it, the better, in my opinion. The fact that it encourages you to play basics is genuinely a good thing, and it ties in nicely with another entry on this list later. In at number 4, I have Exotic Orchard. Whilst Reflecting Pool would have made it onto the list if it wasn't a $10+ card, so it doesn't meet the budget restrictions, Exotic Orchard does. It only makes mana that your opponent's lands could produce, so on the rare occasion that you sit down to a table against Kozilek, Khan, and Hope of Girapur, well, fuck, it doesn't make any mana. So the floor is considerably lower than any other card on this list, but more often than not it'll tap for 2, 3, or 4, or even quite often 5 different colours of mana at a normal EDH table. It's a super cheap way to allow your mana base to fix your mana and cast spells on curve. The beautiful thing about this card right now is that it's so cheap, it's probably on Wizards' oh, we can reprint this often list. You see, it has been reprinted in multiple Commander sets pretty much every year. So as long as we don't spike the price, our corporate overlords who 100% don't check the secondary market at all, no way, what is even a dollar? Mark Rosewater is a socialist, down with capitalist systems. But yeah, our corporate overlords won't stop reprinting this as a cheaper option for us to keep picking up in Commander decks. I genuinely believe there are cards that are expensive enough that Wizards of the Coast have them on like a secondary reserve list that they can only print them sparingly now and again because they want to keep the price of those cards high to incentivize collectors and keep like a gold standard of value beneath Magic cards. And some people might think that's a great thing. Personally, I think it kind of fucking sucks. But this card is not on that, and a lot of the cards on this list are not on that hypothetical or perhaps secret list. Even better than that is if we really normalize this card as part of the community, as like an unwritten rule that multicolored decks are playing these, they improve each other. If you have a swamp and an island in play, for instance, and this, but your opponent only has forest and plains, you can't make double black or double blue to cast, I don't know, a Liliana of the Last Hope, although you shouldn't be playing that in Commander anyway, it's not very good. But if they play their own Exotic Orchard, they see one another, and like a good Spider-Man meme, they eventually settle in together and help to fix everyone's mana in unison. Like a vision of a distant utopia we can all dream of because the world is a cruel and unrelenting place. At number 3 I have Cascading Cataracts, a land that is essentially colourless for the early part of the game but becomes a very good strong powerhouse of fixing in the mid to late, and it can't be strip mined because it's indestructible, but that one friend of yours that you aren't even sure why you keep them around. Wait, what? I'm that friend? I'm that friend? Oh, well, fuck. It helps to turn 6 mana into 5 mana of any colour, which allows you to activate your Golos, for example, or just fixing your mana significantly in the mid to late game. I kinda lied earlier because it turns out this card has doubled in price since the release of Theros Beyond the Blue-Green Mythic, and is now approaching upwards of $4. Barring some reprints, I only see this card climbing, and it's worth picking up now or sooner rather than later if you can, if you want to put that Horde of Notions 5-color unicorn deck that you have an erection over together. Yep, that's right, I see you, and yes, your kink is valid. At number 2, I've got Battlelands. These things are still cheap, with Wizards not treating them like some form of holy cash cow and milking them with the force of 1,000 angry milkmaids. Battlelands aren't a secret, again, as much as they are a little overlooked. They were reprinted in Commander 2019, so newer Commander players have been introduced to them again most recently, so perhaps they will start to show up more and more. They're great if you, I don't know, play a decent number of basic lands. In at number 1, but this is going to be 1A. That's right, the rules of engagement have changed again. Numbers are a man-made concept and math is for blockers and geeks, and I am your card gaming Chad, who definitely lives in what one might call a society. This is Painlands in at 1A. Again, not a secret as such, but certainly worth reevaluating as a nice cheap option for untapped lands in Commander. They of course hurt you, but you can use them smartly, using their colourless option for mana instead of the coloured mana, where possible to minimise this. You also start with 40 life, and life is a resource. Now these vary in price, so if you're playing black-red, use the tainted lands I spoke about earlier, because these are equivalent to $6 or $7 each, for reasons no one fucking knows. But some of them are super cheap, only $1 or $2, so they're pretty good budget ways of playing spells on curve and fixing your mana. But the real king of this conversation, the top of the list, the power top, the queen bee, the big daddy, the arsehole upon which you want to eat your dinner. Wait, what were we doing? Where am I? True North, Absolute 1. It's basics. I think a lot of people don't play enough basic lands, myself included in that. In my Tattoo deck, I'm not playing enough basics. People see these as the first thing to cut as they push in that new 9-mana mythic rare artifact from the new set that does nothing upon entering the battlefield, but will tug you off if you untap with it. They also don't respect basic lands enough at all. I honestly think some decks can function very well on a mana base where almost 75% of the lands are basics. It won't be optimal, and you might have to cut some prohibitively costed cards, but it's doable. But as we spoke about throughout this video, basics serve other functions too. They survive through Ruination, Blood Moon, Back to Basics and Wasteland, and making your Tainted Peaks and Battlelands better too. They're also fetchable off things like Solemn Simulacrum and Cultivate and its ilk. I really do think that basics deserve a little bit more respect. There is a valid counter-argument to the whole play more basics thing. I say about playing untapped lands to play your cards on curve, but of course, screwing yourself out of colours because your mana base isn't good enough to fix mana for your spells can also screw you out of playing spells too. If you are on the true budget end of things and you're looking to use more basic lands, then I would recommend looking to cut your triple or especially your quad pipped cards, or even like double black, double green cards like is Death Sprout one of them, or Frilled Mystic, or any of those things? I don't think you can realistically play them in the decks that play tons and tons of basics. But using the list that I've given you, you could easily play 20 plus basics, a load of the lands that are on this list, and have a good solid mana base that doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, and then pepper it with, I don't know, 4 or 5 tap lands total, and you're off to the races. My advice to a lot of players is to look at how many basics you're playing, then up that number by around 10 to 20%, because basics are good. Path to Exiles and Ghost Quarters and that sort of stuff as well. And most of all, they are essentially free, unless you live on the moon, and then I ask you, well, is there room up there for a dog scientist in need of a break of this world? I guess the reason I made this video as a response to some of the fucking insane comments in my last video is that people were telling me that I was telling people that they were too poor to play the game, which is not the case at all. There are budget options. I didn't give them because that wasn't the purpose of that video. But instead of people giving budget options or even addressing that issue or looking into it, they just like shouted on the internet at me instead. So thanks for that. I enjoyed the engagement. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative and entertaining. If you have a land cycle or some sort of like hidden gem that's currently quite budget that I didn't mention in this video, please leave in the comments below because I will be reading through them to A, see the angry people, and B, see stuff that I might have missed out that might improve my decks or help me to help others improve their decks in future. If you have nothing else worthwhile to add, then please just comment anything, really, because it helps with the engagement and it helps to feed the algorithm. I can't sleep. The algorithm will eat me alive. I've been Vince, PleasantKenobi on the internet. If you like my shit, you can support me via the Patreon link in the description below, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ta for now.